Hello my friends and welcome back. It is episode 7, the deployment episode for Demyansk Pocket. I think that's how you pronounce that. Maybe Demyansk Pocket. Now interestingly, you're supposed to hold here, but this horrendous terrain just makes me, especially with the fortifications on this side, just makes me feel like you're not supposed to go up there. There's also one of these reinforcement zones up in the top corner. So yeah, that does not seem great. And then we have another one of these reinforcement zones over here. But this has a road going through it, so this is sort of more accessible. Now, I've just kind of realized that these planes are not mine, they belong to the AI. And there is a Soviet base like right here, just right in your face. So I'm going to presume that I need to be over there. Post haste. Right. Where do we begin? Right, one thing we're going to do is we're going to shuffle away these grenadiers. I don't need them for this mission. I think the two Uzzel battalions should be sufficient for this mission. Right, let's switch out some of these recon cars for infantry. I actually ran these much earlier. I ran these, but then I started to run out of them, so then I switched. I think we'll maintain these as vehicles because of the rapid fire 1.5x trait. That makes them perfect for support. Right, since this is mostly going to be an air battle, I think I would be wise to engage in the services of another airplane. Fortunately, I do have plenty of them. The fighter formerly known as Galland. I have some history. All I've got really is hit and run. Which would be fine. Hit and run will mean that it will get the first strike against non-fighters or poor low-grade fighters. Right, I need to do a review of my tanks, but before I do a review of my tanks, we're going to add one more. We're going to use these Tiger 30Ps that we've got. Right, but before we do that, we have to free up some slots. Due to our Panzer General trait, we can actually... we can reasonably up-strengthen. Without much cost. Speaking of which, actually, 15 over strength on this is actually kind of a waste. Right, for the Tiger P, we're going to obviously put self-repair on because I don't have much stock for this. And it's plenty powerful in its own right, so it really doesn't need the support of a hero. I believe I have one self-repair left. So we'll put that on. Also on my one scout plane, I'll put the legendary hero back just for the free prestige. Okay, so my primary concern here is that there's an enemy airport here, and there's an enemy airport here. And yet, I am not allowed to deploy to these... So these guys, these planes are in a very vulnerable position. And the nearest I can bring my aircraft to support is like all the way back here. So, I must be able to get over here fast. Okay, scout here. Scout here. Support here. Support here. Now, if you look at this part of the map, the nearest airfields are up here. This one, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is just barely in engagement range. But not immediately. But with this airfield here and this airfield here, I think that both of my anti-aircraft guns would be best served by being right up on this front line. Let's put this infantry here. We're going after that town. There's a town here and there's a town here. We'll put the other infantry here to go after this town. Considering that this way is the only way we could realistically push. I have deployed a lot of artillery here. We'll take the rapid deployment artillery. Bring it up here to help win this. Basically, I don't know what's here, but no matter what, this is just an open space. And an open space can be dominated very easily. One artillery and one infantry is sufficient to unpick this hill tile and this town. And that's all we really need to do. And then on top of that, all I really need to do is supply them, say, with, let's say, the Tiger and maybe the one anti-infantry tank. So this small detachment should be enough to win this area. Now, this whole forested mess here is going to require a little bit more surgery. So, no retaliation tanks are probably a good idea. Hopefully that is all I need. So I think my mission will be to push up here, clear this, and just hold this area. Shouldn't be hard. This anti-aircraft gun will move up with this team, just in case it needs support. And then, on the first turn, I really want to just dive on this airport, because we want to move our air force over to this area as soon as possible, and then up here as soon as possible. We'll just have to see how the mission goes. There's not much else to really say. These guys are... I may have to retire them soon. Because they only cost 3 slots. That's the greatest thing about them. Is that they have very solid quality for 3 slots. But the time is coming where that's just not going to cut it anymore. You can already see here the T-34-57 enjoys improved stats in almost every category for just 1 more slot. And even the German 3J1 has comparable stats. So we're reaching the point where the T-34 is gonna not cut the mustard anymore. Slowly. Shame about this thing. It's just not. It's not worth the extra slot for a 1 extra point of damage and 1 extra point of initiative. Okay, let's double check the rest of our stuff. Obviously, there'll never be anything worth changing infantry-wise. There is a new self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. It is not as good. It is not as good by a long way. Yeah. It's a reasonable replacement because it actually has better anti-air attack, so situationally could be more dangerous. But I think we'll be keeping our Italian machine gun anti-aircraft for a while. Nothing new on the old strat bombing front. And we have the Type D torpedo bomber. The R is a straight downgrade. This is a very interesting recon plane that I keep getting given here. I do like the extended range dive bomber. The stats, the stats are not as good against, you know, damage-wise, but it's much harder to kill. It can hit air, and it has greatly improved range, which might be really useful here. In fact, who am I using on this? This is like the double strike guy, right? The fact that it can hit air gives it some extra utility that might be very useful here. I'm actually tempted to change it. Also gives me some anti-air options. It's not going to have the same tank smashing power, that's the only thing, but maybe that won't be necessary. Let's do it, we'll make that change. Just because this looks to be primarily an air operation. Plus we can always protect this with a fighter, because it's still technically a tactical. Okay, that's it for deployment. There isn't really much to add here. We can't really see what's going on, so it's difficult to decide what we need to deploy. But from what from just looking at the map, I think we take this detachment here and just secure this area, not bother going across this area. I mean, this is horrible position. If the enemy tries to cross here, we'll be able to just massacre them. We need to get up here and take this airport as a kind of secondary priority, but our primary priority will be to take this airport here. I suppose the real question is, where the hell are these guys going? They don't have a lot of movement range. But you know, if they just immediately fly here in a row, they're going to be right on top of the enemy in a heartbeat, and that's not good. Okay, alright, that's it for deployment. I'll see you guys next time.